All right, you already know what it is. Fourth Quarter Boys Sports. It is me, the illustrious one, Professor Lake, in the building, man. Hit the notification bell, like the video. So, the NFL Draft 2022 is now wrapped up, and, yesterday there was a lot of aggression, a lot of rage going on this side of the microphone, and I have to admit, man, today I'm pretty satisfied with what Ryan Poles was able to do in the draft. To start it off, he was able to trade back and accumulate some more picks, which I thought was excellent. But even when you want to talk about day two and, the picks when, it wasn't just me, so at least I'm admitting it. But a lot of Bears fans wanted Alec Pierce. A lot of Bears fans wanted George Pick. A lot of Bears fans wanted some guys that we saw fly off the board, after those defensive backs were picked. But honestly, when you look at the tape and you really think about some of the Bears' needs in the division that we play in, we're going to have some depth at the cornerback spot, at the safety spot, and we're also going to have guys that can really play ball. Not guys that you're taking a flyer on, a shot in the dark that might be a diamond in the rough, somebody who's really put it on tape. And, Kyler Gordon put it on tape, and so did Jaquan Brisker. When you move on and you go into the next round and they draft Ellis Jones, he's a 6 foot tall, 200-pound wide receiver. Like I said before, he reminds me of a running back, and I think he has, qualities that remind Ryan Poles of Tyreek Hill. Now, I'm not saying he's as good as Tyreek Hill, but I think that Ryan Poles and Luke Getsy sees him as a type of athlete that you can get in open space and, not stress Justin Fields out as far as throwing long bombs down the field, but, some easier passes that can help him out throughout the game. And when you can get it to a guy that's a playmaker and can take the ball the distance, 4.3 speed, that's really going to help out the offense. And the way Ryan Poles explained it in his interview after day two and how he really evaluated the players and what he was going to need for his offense, he had a vision for what Luke Getsy wanted for the team. Offensively, what he felt that he would need to make Justin Fields successful. So when you look at developing the quarterback, you got to take from step one to step two. You look at Aaron Rodgers, you look at Tom Brady, and they're not throwing bombs down the field all game. But, sometimes they're willing to check down. They're humble enough to know where their check downs are at. And I think this is what they're doing with Justin Fields. They're starting from square one again, and they're going to try to build him up as time goes on. And when you can have playmakers that could, turn 6-yard passes into, 20-yard touchdowns or, big chunk yard plays, that only makes your quarterback have more confidence and in what he's doing and the decisions that he's making and how he's developing. And that could only be positive for the development of Justin Fields. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I must admit, and I'm only going to give it to you raw, I'm only going to give you the facts and the truth. So, so that just kind of covers those guys, So those were some solid picks, definitely, defensively, it was sort of a leaky ship. Even last year with Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, Akeem Hicks being injured from time to time, Roquan going out, I think the year prior to that. So, but when you got some physical guys there, it's going to come with an attitude. And you're also going to come with some physicality that I think that the Bears were lacking in a couple of the last seasons. And those are also some of the reasons why, we fell down in rankings as a total defense. So, with the loss of Adrian Amos, I think Jaquan Brisker fits right in. Comes from Penn State as well. So I think he's a great fit with that defense. And you got Kyler Gordon on the opposite side of Jalen Johnson. And hell, maybe you could kick Thomas Graham Jr. to the inside. And you also have Young in the fold. So we're definitely going to see how things shake out. Again, it's competition in the secondary. I think you're pretty good at linebacker. You might need one more linebacker to slide in there, but I think they may give Matthew Adams a chance. Me personally, I looked at Matthew Adams coming out of Houston, and I thought that he should have been drafted way higher than the 7th round. But going on into day 3, Ryan Poles was able to trade back, get the Bears some more picks, and he got us a left tackle in Braxton Jones. He's 310 pounds. He ran the 40-yard dash in 4.97 seconds. He's from Southern Utah. he was an all Big Sky Conference pick for 2 seasons. He played left tackle. His strengths are his size, his length, and he has a natural ability to overpower people. You also have to take in consideration that he was playing at Southern Utah, but he's definitely a moldable guy. He seems like he has a decent attitude from the interviews. Again, it just speaks to what Ryan Poles thinks about Tevin Jenkins and Larry Borum, and being able to find a solid lineup with the guys he brought in free agency as well, while some of these later round draft picks develop. Next, he drafts an edge rusher, Dominique Robinson, 6'4", 252 pounds. He went to school at Miami of Ohio. He had 28 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks. He started out as a receiver and then was converted to a defensive player because he wasn't making plays offensively. So he said he wanted to be able to affect the game and have an impact on the game without the ball in his hand. So he went to the defensive side of the ball, and now he's a Chicago Bear. After that, they went and drafted Zach Thomas, offensive lineman, 6'5", 300 pounds, in the 6th round from San Diego State. Now he played left tackle and right guard, and he was an all Mountain West pick. Again, just bringing more bodies in on that offensive line. You're going to need practice bodies, and you're going to need depth, and you're really going to try to find out who are the guys that we're going to be able to put in there on Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. Another player I was excited about was Treston Ebner, running back out of Baylor. He was picked in the 6th round. He's 5'11", 215 pounds. He's an all-purpose guy, return specialist. He had 4 special teams touchdowns, 9 rushing touchdowns, and 11 receiving touchdowns in his career. He's one of the only players to compile 1,000 rushing yards and 1,000 receiving yards during his career at Baylor. And so after that, again, Ryan Pace addresses the offensive line, although it be in a later round. He gets Doug Kramer out of Illinois, 6'2", 305 pounds. Second team All Big Ten. So now we got us a backup center, see what he could do with the Chicago Bears. Again, another theme, bringing competition into the offensive line room. And after that, addressing the interior line once again with Ja'Tyre Carter. He's a guard out of Southern. All I really know about Ja'Tyre Carter was, just looking at the Senior Bowl film, it just looked like he kind of held his own, especially against Logan Hall and other high-end edge talent at the Senior Bowl. Now, finally, after addressing the offensive line pretty thoroughly in the later rounds, he goes back and addresses the secondary, and this was the whammy for me, because after looking at the tape of Elijah Hicks, I don't know if this is going to be Eddie Jackson's replacement or not, but, I could already see Elijah Hicks playing free and Jaquan, Brisker playing strong and using Eddie Jackson as trade bait. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be that excited about a 7th round pick. But, again, you look at what Eddie Jackson has done for us lately, and he just hasn't been the same prolific safety that we signed him for. Ever since then, it's been a slow decline in production, splash plays, and, everything else that goes with it, tackling and all of those things. Elijah Hicks actually brings a little more physicality. He'll compete with receivers for 50-50 balls, and he doesn't have the injury history that Eddie Jackson has. So, the writing may be on the wall, but we'll see as things go forward. And finally, Mr. Irrelevant for the Chicago Bears, they drafted a punter, Trenton Gill, out of NC State. So there you have it, folks. Just looking at the draft and just analyzing what Ryan Poles was able to do. Honestly, I can't complain with the picks. After explaining his philosophy and what he was looking for in the draft, you can see how every player that he picked falls into place. And I really like what he did. It appears that the scouts did a pretty decent job scouring the NCAA football clubs for players that no one's really talking about, for players that maybe overlooked. and bringing them on, looking at their traits, looking at their competition, looking at their personality and what's beating inside of their chest. So I definitely have to pull back on some of the comments said before, but as we go forward, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm excited to see how these guys work out in off-season activities, and we're going to see what Justin Fields could do with better coaching, a better running scheme, a better direction when it comes to offense and philosophy and building a foundation. Words of the day, phrases of the day: trust the process, be calm down. We're only a couple months into the regime, and quietly things are looking on the up and up. And so we still got free agency going on. Well, we still got some things that might happen with other teams as far as people getting released, possible trades, possible players that are on our team being traded for future draft picks next season. So when you look at the draft and you look what Ryan Poles did over the last couple days, you can come to a couple conclusions. One, I think he feels pretty good about Tevin Jenkins and Larry Borum. Two, I think that, it speaks to the offense and what Lou Getsy is trying to do for Justin Fields. I think that, the high-flying offense that Matt Nagy was supposedly trying to bring to Chicago, I think we could go ahead and put that to rest. I think that Lou Getsy is devising a real football offense, a plan, a scheme, an identity that the Bears could run with that involves running the ball and, having a passing game that uses the quarterback's abilities to their advantage, making it easy for him to make decisions while still taking advantage of mismatches in the defense. You look at the picks of Ellis Jones, a guy that, could take the ball the distance. You look at the later round pick of Treston Ebner, a running back that could take it the distance. These guys look like they're 4'3", 40 guys. Every time you look at the tape, they're outrunning defensive backs. So these are guys that could definitely be weapons, special team experts. You're getting double-breasted draft picks when you bring in guys that are, the total package. And that's what it looks like Ryan Poles did with this draft. Now, I know a lot of people wanted us to address the offensive line earlier, but again, it speaks to what he thinks about the guys that are already on the roster. And I think that he's looking for depth pieces to learn the offense, and if they're called on at a certain time, be able to step in there, improve, and not really be that much of a drop-off from the starter. Again, day 2, love the picks. And day three, I definitely love the direction that Ryan Poles is trying to go. And with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up, y'all. It is Fourth Quarter Boys Sports. I am the illustrious one, Professor Lake. Like the video, hit the notification bell, and you get notified every time I flip out a video. But the word for the day is calm down. Trust the process. I'm out.